Maybe you're thinking about buying a condo down in Waikiki, right? It sounds like a dream come true. Why wouldn't you want to own a condo and you can walk right there to the beach? You can be in the heart of everything that's happening right here on Oahu and in Hawaii, really, right? Everybody knows Waikiki is as the spot, right? Unless you're a fan of Maui. But Waikiki is typically the city that you know of when you think of Hawaii or Honolulu. But you think about owning that condo in Waikiki and everything that comes with that. It sounds nice, right? But in this video, we're actually going to break down all these things that come with buying and owning a condo in Waikiki, the fees, right? HOA fees, maintenance fees, what all those can include, because they can be pretty high. Things to watch out for: fee simple versus leasehold, how those can impact the price of the condo, and all these different variety of things. And we're going to talk about those in this video right now. What's going on? Welcome to the Living in Hawaii channel. If you are new here, this channel is all about everything in Hawaii, what it's like to really live in Hawaii. I was raised here. It's all about the up, down, left, right, what it's like to eat, sleep, play, breathe, everything that you need to know if you're thinking about making that move to Hawaii. If you're not new here, welcome on back. Make sure you all hit the like button. It helps anybody else looking for this information be able to find this video. Make sure you hit the subscribe button and hit that notification bell so that you get notified every time that I upload a new video on this channel. And look, we talked to so many people that are either thinking about making that move out here to Hawaii or buying a condo down in Waikiki. And if that sounds like you can shoot me a text, you can send me an email, you can schedule your own Zooms down in the description below. We absolutely love it, and we got your back when making that move to Hawaii. Well, first let's start off with identifying where exactly Waikiki is, because maybe you haven't even been here at all and you have no idea, but you just had this idea that maybe you'll buy a condo as a place for you when you visit, an investment condo, or where you want to come and really live full time. But starting off with where is Waikiki, so let's go ahead and show you right on the map. So Waikiki, as we get in here and we zoom in, Waikiki is going to be on the southeastern portion of the island of Oahu. And when we look at Oahu, we kind of look at it as we can kind of look at it as a triangle, and we look at that southeastern portion. Waikiki, the city, really consists of a strip that kind of starts down, kind of when you get past Ala Moana, or right around the Ala Moana area. Some people consider that still Waikiki, but right around the Ala Moana Mall area. And then there's going to be a stretch. You're going to make a right, you're going to come around the bend, you're going to make a right, you're going to be right there by the Hilton Hawaiian Village. And you're going to see this stretch, and it's basically going to be a waterway on both sides. We got the Alawai on the back side, and then we got Waikiki Beach on the front side. And this is where a lot of the condos, the high-rise condos and things that people are looking to buy are. So we're going to pinpoint right here so you can see Waikiki is this little stretch, and this is where the tourist hotspot is. Now that I've shown you where Waikiki is, we're going to talk about what the market is actually like going on down there. Rolling into topic number 2 is going to be, what is the housing market like down there in Waikiki? So let me go ahead and give you a little bit of a disclaimer. At the time of me recording this in December of 2021, we are still experiencing a seller's market in general as a whole when people talk about inventory. Now, this does depend on where at on the island we are talking about. And for this video specifically, we are talking about Waikiki, right? And buying a condo in Waikiki. So what are we noticing with the market down in Waikiki at this time? And this is very well changed, okay? So this is a conversation, if you do want to buy a condo in Waikiki, that we can get on a call and talk about the market depending on when you see it. And when we have our call, we can pull up the stats and the data and see what's happening with the market, and also go over the rest of the questions in this video. So don't forget, you can schedule your Zoom down below. But at the time where everybody's considering this to be a seller's market based on data and what we're seeing, and continuing to go into 2022, it is not necessarily the case to be a seller's market in Waikiki. This also depends on the condo, right? Is the condo short-term rental approved, which is a big deal for a lot of people. If it's someplace that you're going to look and plant roots and that's not a big deal, it doesn't matter then, right? But things that are affecting it if it sells fast, because we're not noticing it to be a seller's market right, relatively speaking, in Waikiki. Condos in Waikiki are sitting a little bit longer on the market, and we are seeing townhomes and single-family homes in the suburbs outside of the city of Honolulu and Waikiki. Right, so not necessarily a seller's market down there. A lot of variables that come into play with this as well, right? When we talked about the days on the market and the rest of the questions to follow. So Key notes here with this one, not necessarily a seller's market in Waikiki. Condos are sitting a little bit longer. This also affects price point, right? And then we talk about the size and location. How close are we to Waikiki Beach? The further we get from Waikiki Beach, typically, right, typically speaking, a little bit more affordable. And it also depends on the building and who owns the building and a lot of other things. But again, key points, not necessarily a seller's market in Waikiki. Number 3 is going to be fee simple versus leasehold properties. And this is something that is big out here, and it can have a huge impact on the price of the property down in Waikiki. When we break these down, and this isn't a very common terminology either, a lot of people who are coming to buy a condo in Waikiki or are looking to buy a condo in Waikiki, they start to notice these things and they have no idea what it is, what it means. You're probably looking around on the internet and searching condos, and you may notice some that look fairly affordable, right? You're looking at it, you're going, wow, why is this one like $100,000 or $130,000? There's a lot of factors that come into play here with fee simple and leasehold and price point, okay? And that's what we're talking about right here. So when you're buying a condo in Waikiki, fee simple means, sorry, I have to make sure I get this, I'm trying to make sure I can, in the simplest terms, fee simple means that you have land rights, air rights, and all improvements thereon. So you have what is called the fee, right, or the land, okay? The fee basically means that you own the property itself and the land below, or a share in the land. So condos in Waikiki, some of them may be fee simple, where the entire building, right, or the units in the building are fee simple units. Every owner in the condo, or every owner of a condo in that building, then has a share of the fee, right, or the land below, okay? So that sounds like normal home ownership, right? If you were to buy a single family home, you would assume that you would be a fee simple home where you're buying that home, right? The land below, right? All the way down to Earth's center crust, and then, or Earth's center core, sorry. And then you have air rights too, okay? Now what is leasehold then? Okay, leasehold essentially means that you only own the structure. You only own the box, you only own the wood, right? You do not have rights to the land, okay? So for a condo, if it is a leasehold condo, you are then buying essentially that space, right? Or the right to use that space, but that has a contract on it. So if you are a homeowner, right, and you're renting out your home and your property, that person is leasing your home from you under a contract. Well, what happens out here is maybe corporations or somebody who's just very wealthy owns the entire fee, right? They own the entire fee. They own the building, they own the land, they own the air rights. And then what they do is they lease out or sell in a leasehold fashion the condo units, right? And then that lease has an expiration date, okay? And then this is when this can start playing a factor into the price point. So again, in a leasehold, fee simple, land rights, property, air rights. Leasehold, you only own the structure or the box, okay? That's as simple as I can put it. And again, we can talk more about that on our call. I can break it down more for you. And then we're gonna slide into the next topic of how this can affect price point. Number 4 on our list is, how does a leasehold impact the price of the property? So as I mentioned, you were probably looking around online and then you start seeing prices of condos in Waikiki and it's like, this is like too good to be true. You're seeing all these other ones, they're $400,000, $500,000, $600,000 and up, right? And then all of a sudden there's one right across the street and it's $130,000 and you're like, what's going on here? It seems too good to be true. If that's the case and you were to contact me, here's exactly what I start looking at as a real estate agent, okay? I start looking for if it is fee simple versus leasehold, which we just talked about. Most often, if you're seeing something that's too good to be true, it is most likely or typically a leasehold property. Here's how the lease term impacts the price. So leases can be anywhere 30 years, 50 years for the building, right? The owner leases out the building or the right to use and sell condo units in the building, right? So this can be 30 to 50 years. As the shorter that term gets and we start to notice leaseholds only have about 11, 12, 10 years until the lease expires, then this plays a huge factor for investors. This plays a huge factor if you're trying to get a loan for that property, right? So let's think about that part right there, the loan. If you're trying to get a 15-year or a 30-year or a 15-year mortgage but that lease only has 10 years left, how are you going to pay off your loan, which is a 15-year loan, in 10 years? Because here's what happens at the end of leaseholds. You could potentially lose that property, right? If the lease is not renegotiated, okay, so if a lease has 10 years left on it, I'm looking to see if they have already identified a renegotiation period. If they have a renegotiation date already set, then great, but that does not guarantee the extension of the lease. It just means they're going to begin to start talking about it, right? And these renegotiations can take up to a long time. So now we're starting to play the risk versus reward game, right? And then we talked about the length of the lease, how that plays a factor with the mortgage. So typically speaking, when you start to see these prices on the internet that are in the lower, hundreds or 200,000s, right? Typically speaking, they're too good to be true. And then that's when you're going to start wanting to look at that land tenure, right? Land tenure is going to tell you if it's fee simple versus leasehold, okay? This is going to be a big factor of that price point and something that you're going to definitely need to pay attention to when it comes to buying a condo in Waikiki. Topic number 5 is going to be, is this condo short-term rental approved? Now that may not even be what you're looking for, right? So this is what we talked about in the beginning. Maybe you're looking to come and buy a long-term place for you, right? You want to plant roots. You really just want to live in a condo in Waikiki, or you're not looking to use it as that Airbnb investment vehicle, okay? Well, that's going to be a tougher market. And typically speaking, if you can find a condo that is fee simple and already short-term rental approved and zoned, then you found a gem, but that is going to be a little bit more expensive. If you're seeing some of these leasehold properties that are in the lower price points that are short-term rental approved already, check that length of that lease that is left on that contract term. These are things that are going to play a factor, again, with your price point. If you're looking at it as an investment, right, weighing your risk versus reward. When we got the lease term, the renegotiation date. The other thing that I forgot to mention in the previous topic was if the fee is available. When we're talking about fee simple and leasehold, a lot of times too, you'll see this, or I'll see this in the MLS, but you can see if the fee is available. So at the end of the lease, what is going to happen is the owner of the entire fee, right, because the lease is up, the owner of the fee is making it available for sale. And it is generally speaking offered to the owners of the leaseholds at first, but the fee can become available for sale at the end of the leasehold term, right? So short-term rentals, though, again, risk versus reward as far as does that investment pay you back over time, right? There was we were talking, and there was a condo. They had a good price point, right? But then when we looked at the lease term, are you going to make your money back in that lease term? That it already did have a renegotiation date, but again, if you had that property without thinking that it's going to renegotiate and that you're just going to lose out in 12 years, are you going to be able to make your money back in that investment if that's what you're planning on using it for, right? So risk versus reward. The other thing about short-term rentals is there's an approved already resort zoned approved, and then there's already approved buildings and units for that. It's very hard now to get approved for a short-term rental that already isn't approved. And there's other thing to consider is it's a big deal out here. It's a really big deal, especially because the government has the hotel tax and the government makes the money from the hotel tax and these things, but they don't make any money from the short-term rentals, right? So there's a bill out there right now to crack down on illegal short-term rentals, and it's Bill 41, and that bill is basically saying that short-term rentals are going to increase to 180 days, because right now it's at 30 days. If it's not already short-term rental approved, it's 30 days. It has to rent for at least 30 days, right? And so the loophole then is somebody will put a property on Airbnb and it's a 30-month term, right? That's the way of getting around the STR. So now what they're looking to do is increase that 30 to 180, right? That's a long time. And that's definitely not a short-term rental, but that's what they're looking to do with this bill. It's going through the legislation right now at the time of this recording. And this is something that's still up in the air and debated. It's not solved yet. So big things happening with the short-term rental market out here on Oahu. It's a complicated thing, right? Buying a condo in Waikiki is not as simple as you thought. And we still got one more topic to go, and we're going to talk about something that can also play a big factor into your cost. Another huge thing for topic number 6, and this could play a huge factor into your monthly cost, especially if you're looking at, for a place to either live and plant roots or your investment, but it's going to be the association and maintenance fees. A lot of these buildings are going to have a very hefty association and maintenance fees. So when I say that, a lot of times we have an HOA fee and then we have a maintenance fee. And then the maintenance fee, a lot of times in these condo buildings, is really the building maintenance, the area beautification, the things that go on with that building. Buildings typically will have a pool or something like that, right? And then you got the HOA that manages it, which is a fee. And when those come together, those can be pretty hefty, especially the condos in Waikiki. A lot of times we have seen, and you'll see it too when you're searching around, which you can do on my website if you'd like to, down in the description below. But you're gonna see these hefty HOA fees, $900 a month, $1,000, $1,100 a month is not uncommon for me to see when I'm talking with someone and we're looking around on our Zoom calls at condos that are down there and discussing these options and situations. A lot of times too though, you gotta consider this. These HOA fees are pretty fat, right? But they include, some of them are all inclusive. Some of them I have seen include everything, right? We're talking AC, internet, cable, electric, everything. Some of them are highly inclusive, and basically all your bills are put into this HOA fee, right? And maintenance fee. Those are the hefty ones. Now this is what you're going to be paying a month, right? Along with your mortgage if you have one, right? Or if you've paid all cash, then you got to consider this in your taxes, right? Those fees can get pretty fat, and so a lot of them aren't all inclusive though, and that's something you got to look at, right? You got to look at and see what's really included in this, and again, is that worth it? Is that going to cut down on the factor of risk versus reward, right? Where your bottom line is, and these types of things. So something for you to be on the lookout for is how much are the HOA fees, what all is included in that HOA fee, and you also want to pay attention to see if there's any upcoming assessments. It doesn't always tell that online. A lot of times we don't even find that out if there are until we talk to either the listing agent, right? Or when we get into contract and we get what's called our M1 documents or HOA documents, then we will see what's in their budget. So there's a form called their RR105C. It tells us their budget, what they've got saved, all these things going on, and if there's any special assessments. Special assessments could be things like adding a speed bump in the parking lot or fixing the elevator or something like that, right? Those could be special assessments that might hike up your HOA or your monthly fee. But those are the things you got to look out for. Number 6, association and maintenance fees can really increase your cost. So if you're considering buying a condo in Waikiki, again, you got to reach out, and we absolutely love it. We talk to people all the time. You can reach out, you can send me a text, you can send me an email, you can schedule your own Zoom down in the description below. We can talk about all these factors, and we can look at some of these condos that are actively listed on the market to really help you get the visual and break it down of what it is that investment or where you want to plant your roots may look like. And again, you got to reach out, you can send me the text, however you want to get a hold of me. I got your back when buying that condo in Waikiki. If you haven't already, make sure you hit the like button. It helps anybody else find this information. Make sure you hit the subscribe button and that notification bell so you get notified anytime that I upload a new video on this channel. On this channel, again, as I said in the beginning, we got vlog tours, community vlog tours. You're looking at buying a condo in Waikiki. I got a vlog tour of me walking around all of Waikiki, right? It's gonna pop up for you right now.